Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So today I'm going to be doing a movie review. Transformers, the new Transformers movie, Rise of the Beasts. I saw this. What can I say about this film? I saw this yesterday. And I'm asexual and sexual orientation, which means I lack sexual attraction. For me personally, I don't like movies with sex in them and nudity. And Transformers Rise of the Beast was incredible. I would say it's very suitable for asexuals because not only did it not have any sex or nudity in it also had two main characters that were more building a friendship than romance. There was like a little bit of chemistry, probably, I'd say, between them, but it was more based on friendship. And they didn't do a snog at the end and anything like that, right? So I think you've been really wowed in that respect because a lot of Transformers movies, they do have quite a strong, well, the ones I've seen and that I remember, they tend to have like two main characters and it can be very kind of romantic and even have some sexual aspects to it. But the two main characters that he brought together this time, it was more based on friendship, camaraderie, and just caring for one another. As in more like someone you would just met but you care for because you care for humanity. So I think you would find that really nice. So Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So Transformers Rise of the Beast goes back in time to the early 1990s and it is called Rise of the Beast because there's like hi Anarch. Nice to see you. Lots of love. So it's called Rise of the Beast because there's like a faction of Transformers from primitive age, right? So you've got a great big gorilla and stuff like that. It's very, very how can you put it? How can I put it? Like primeval type of stuff. So it's like bringing an old set of Transformers with a current set of Transformers, but set in the past in the early 1990s. And I absolutely love and adore robots. So I find this quite fascinating that it was a robot, which was a gorilla basically. And it was very, very effective. And this gorilla has named itself after Optimus Prime. And it's given itself like another name, which is called Optimus Primitus, because it's like it's like primeval times. And so this is like a big gorilla. There's also like an eagle, and I don't know if it's a tiger or a panther. I wasn't quite sure about the other animal in there, but I'm sure if you look it up, you'll find out what it is. But basically, they make up the Maximals, which is like it's like a subcategory of Transformers, basically. And I really enjoyed it. Robots are so silly, says Anarch. Oh, I love robots. I absolutely have such a fascination for robots. I think they're great. So I don't actually think they're silly. And obviously with artificial intelligence now, and if you read about artificial intelligence on Wikipedia, artificial intelligence could completely take over the world in years to come. Not that I want to scare anyone. Silly as in like good, goofy silly. Oh, right, okay. Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that. So, um, I really love like the robots. Like I thought the gorilla one in this one was really well done because I find it hard to picture a gorilla as a robot, but the way they've done like his markings and stuff like this, I think it's very ingenious actually. So basically, what's happened is obviously this is set back in time. So it's set in the early 1990s and they've got this object which looks like a spear. It has like two like spearheads put together basically. And they have to find this object. It's not like a complete spear, but that's how I would describe it. It's like two spearheads, like that have joined together. And so what happened is there was like a battle years ago, and they had to hide these two parts to stop this evil robot getting hold of it. Like he's a really dark robot and taking over the world with it. And so the um the group of primates, what did I say? The group of primates, they're called, I am looking this up because I keep forgetting it, maximals. So the maximals, they hide this special like object, and they split it in half because if the evil robot gets hold of it, then it means he can use it to rule all the world and destroy everything. And also, Optimus Prime and the other robots can actually use it to get home. So it's a dual purpose. It's, if it gets in the wrong hands, basically, it can be used for evil to destroy the world. And if it gets in the right hands, Optimus Prime's hands and the Autobots, they can go home. And it's the only way that they're meant to be able to go home. And so the robots are stuck on Earth. Optimus Prime, he wants to get this object, but he knows if it gets in the wrong hands, it'll be really bad. And they've got this young guy in it. Well, I thought he was 23, but in real life, he's 31. I just looked him up. He's called Anthony Ramos, however you want to pronounce it. And he's really good looking. He's actually an American actor, singer, and songwriter. So, but he's really good looking. He looks 23, but I just looked him up before I came and did this review, and he's 31. So he looks much, much younger in the movie. And I really liked him. He was a very strong character. So basically, they brought him in, and he's got this story. It's meant to like speak Spanish in the actual movie. And he's got this little brother and mother. It's like a single parent family, but his brother's very sick, and his brother's has something wrong with him where his hands turn purple. And in America, you have to have insurance for healthcare. And from my understanding of the movie, they've missed their insurance payments for like 3 months in a row, I think it is, because they haven't got the money. So Anthony obviously is his real name, but I think he plays, what's he called in the thing? Is he called Sean? I can't remember what it's called in it. Noah. He's called Noah. Right, I've got him up now. Noah. I don't know why I thought he's called Sean, but I do have fibromyalgia and it changes people's names around in my head to what I think they should be. It's really weird. So Noah, yeah. So basically, his name is Noah, and his little brother is very sick, and they haven't got healthcare insurance. This is a really important thread at the beginning of the movie because he is struggling to get work. He's like ex-army, from what I could tell, and he goes to get a job, but apparently he was unreliable in his last job. So he couldn't get this job. They just didn't bother interviewing him. And he's like, my little brother is sick. I had to take care of him. And it's like, it's no excuse. You're unreliable. We don't want you. So he then has this friend, who's kind of a street type of guy, who gets him involved in this crime. And the reason he allows himself to be involved in this crime is because he wants to get money to pay for his little brother's medical insurance so he can get the treatment he needs. And so this guy who's his mate says, sets him up to do it looks like he's setting him up to do a robbery. Now, I thought he was setting him up to do a bank robbery, but what actually happens, I should have known this due to the fact it's Transformers, but I thought the bank robbery was actually going to be part of the story, but he doesn't. He has to steal a car. And so the robbery isn't actually a bank and robbing people of money from a bank, but I thought it was with the way the other guy was talking about it. It's actually robbing a car. And the whole point of robbing a car is to steal it to fund his brother's medical treatment because he can sell the car. And it's a Porsche type of car, I believe, but obviously with Transformers, they transform into different cars later on. So I think it starts off as a Porsche. So obviously a Porsche is worth a lot of money. So he tries to get this car, but it's quite funny because Noah has to go through this place and the people think he's part of the team. And it's really weird the way he does it. He like makes out like, "Hi, I'm here," blah blah blah. And all happened so fast. It's quite a good action movie. I love Transformers for that reason. So he ends up getting to this car and he tries to undo the car with like a crowbar, and then the car is shutting itself down again, like shutting the door again. And he's trying to open it, it's shutting again. And it's really good because when he finally gets into the car then starts by itself and starts driving itself, which he's totally not expecting. And the guy who's put him up to no good to steal the car is on headphone set, so he can talk to him. Noah can talk to him, but his mate disappears and leaves him there with the police after him. So there's a major like car chase in the beginning. Don't forget, I do spoilers in this video. So if you don't want spoilers, please don't carry on watching. And there's a massive car chase, and Noah's like going to saying to the police that are following him, because the police are like going, pull over, pull over. He's like, I can't. The car's driving by itself. Like, help me. And the car's going off, and he doesn't know what's happening, and it's carrying on. And then it stops, and then these police cars are like cornering it, and then he's like saying to the car, no, come on, go, go. And so the car goes, and then you hear over the radio of the car that it's Optimus Prime talking about the Autobots need to get together because there's trouble, basically. And so he then starts hearing the car talk and everything like that, and that's how he gets used to the car. And they eventually end up at this warehouse, and the car transforms into a transformer. And he's a very hip hop transformer. He's like, yeah, dude, and is a very, I would say it was kind of weird because I thought this robot was quite advanced for an early 90s robot, but yet they've done him in that early 90s style because he likes that type of music. He's a kind of like, he's attuned to the kind of like music they have around in that era. And so the way he speaks is a bit like he would talk as in an early 90s street person. It's really weird. And I think they've done him very effectively, but I do think he comes across as quite advanced for that era, more than some of the other Autobots and Transformers, if you know what I mean. So yes, I was a bit like, it's kind of like you're old, but you're new at the same time. It's a bit weird, but it was a very, very good robot. I really love that robot. And this is a robot that protects him because he has to go on a mission in the end to save the world, because what happens is when he's in this warehouse, the robots say about the object that's missing and what's going to happen, and Noah decides to help the robots out because one of the robots, the one he was in the car with, the Porsche robot, basically, he says to Noah, I'll give you money if you can help us. We need you to go into this museum. It's like a it's a museum, but it's got this scientific area which reminds me of a laboratory in it as well. And so this specimen, which is like an eagle, wooden eagle, I think it's wooden, has come in. And what's happened is one of the people who works there, she specializes in these artifacts and realizes that it's not a normal artifact, that it's dated like prehistoric time, and it's got these markings on it. So she starts writing down these markings because it's something she's really interested in. Noah then goes into the museum, she finds out this eagle, she started to move this eagle and to stroke it and to see the symbols on it, and it all crumbles, and then the object is in it, and it's one half of this like spear type object. And she doesn't know exactly what it is, but then she works out roughly what type of thing it is, that it's not normal from the era that she's in and would normally see things in. And so she looks up the history of it. So she's already kind of writing this down in her journal. And then Noah comes in and he tries to get this object off her, and she won't give it to him. And he's like, look, I need it because there's some like massive robots, the alien type beings that have come down. And she doesn't believe him. And then the evil robots come and they try to get into the museum, try to kill them both, and try and get this object that they need desperately to rule the world and to destroy it. And so Noah then ends up having the beginnings of a friendship with this woman, and he feels like he cares about her enough to save her when the big robots, the evil ones, they let these smaller robots, like they're a bit like spidery robots, come in, and they can get into places a lot more easily. They're a lot less noticeable. They can cling to the ceiling and drop down in front of you. So at one point, Noah is at one, like going towards the exit, and he's got the object in his hand, and then she is against a wall, and he sees this creature coming down, this robotic creature coming down, about to attack her. So he goes and in between her and the robot to save her, and then says run, and they both run down the exit together, and eventually they end up with Optimus Prime, and there's the eagle comes into it, and the eagle is like one of those primate Transformers. But what was weird, there was something weird that happens later with this eagle, and it ends up going from a good character to being bad. And I think that's because the evil robot, he actually attacks the eagle, and the eagle says something about he's left his mark, and when someone leaves a mark on you like that, like a doom and gloom mark, it impacts you. So I'm guessing that it turned the eagle evil, because the eagle, well, it possessed the eagle, because the eagle then ends up turning the against Noah and his, what I would say now is a friend. But that's later on in the movie when they're trying to find the rest of the objects. So if we backtrack to the current part of the current part of the movie, Noah agrees with the girl, the woman, to go and try and retrieve the other part of this object, because the evil robot has got away with the first half in the end, and they need to get the second half before the evil robot gets it. Otherwise, he'll have all the rule of the world and destroy it. And because the woman knows all about the artifact, and she saw the markings on the eagle, she could tell that where the object, I think it was on the eagle, or was it on the actual object itself? No, I think it was on the eagle. It was on something else. Anyway, she knew by putting the two markings together that she could tell where it was, and it was in Peru, basically. I think it's Peru. So they embark on this journey to then go over to this place where they think, oh, so Noah goes with the woman and the robots go as well, but Noah and the woman take part in this parade, and they dress up, which is quite a funny part of the movie, pretending they're to be part of the parade. And then they end up going down. Noah says this is like a Batman movie, like something out of a Batman movie, because they end up opening these stone, or Batman. Oh no, Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think he said. Indiana Jones, they said. It's like Indiana Jones, but it does remind me of Batman, actually, because it reminds me of an empty well. But he said it's like yeah, it's like an Indiana Jones movie, because they move these stones which they think will make the object come to life, and they search for this object and they think it's hidden, but it's actually, they have to take this stone piece off and walk down these steps underground. And then the bad evil robots get there to the city, and they end up sending one of those crazy creature robots down after them. And so this is what happens throughout the movie. It's like basically a big action movie, lots of robotic movements, like the evil robots and the good robots are fighting each other, while the humans are trying to actually be the one to save the day and find the other half of this object. And so it's always like a chase, and there's really good scenery. And like I said, there's no real sexual stuff going on between the two main characters, which I think asexuals will love. And there's no real romance as such either. There's like a little bit of a spark of interest, but there's nothing really like romantic going on. So I'd say aromantic asexuals, those that lack romantic attraction, really love this movie. And in the end, Noah and his friend have to go and retrieve the whole thing. So the evil robot gets the second part of this object, and they're about to destroy the world. And the only way they can save it is by the woman who's got the code from the symbols to type it into the safeguard system to override this so that they can just, they can destroy the object. But it doesn't happen like that. And so it fails because the actual panel that she's trying to type the code in gets destroyed. And so there's a massive fight at the end. And one thing I absolutely loved about this movie, towards the very end, Noah gets a robotic suit. So he's a bit like Iron Man, a Marvel character. And I'm like, wow, this is meant to be an early 90s movie because it's set in the early 90s. Obviously, it's a 2023 movie, it's a present movie, but it's set in the early 90s. I think it's 1991 and something like that. And here he is having a really high-tech robotic suit, because I don't remember seeing any of the other movies where a robotic suit is given to a human, but I might be wrong about that because I haven't seen all the Transformers movies. So please tell me if you've seen one of the movies and you think that happens. But from my memory, from the ones I've seen, I don't think that happens. And so I was quite shocked. And this guy called Noah is very strong and powerful guy, Anarch. I honestly have no idea. Yeah, I've seen quite a few of the movies and I can't remember that happening. You don't think it's happened before either? Yeah. So I was quite shocked because I thought this is quite modern for a film that's set back in the 90s, which is kind of predating some of the other films I think they've done. But I was like really in awe of it because what happened is the robot that was looking after him basically fell on top of him and crushed and looked like he was dead. But he was keeping in contact with his little brother. So Noah's little brother, who is, who has a problem with his health. And so his little brother is in the robot, in the robot suit, if you like, he's in the robot that's hung over Noah because the robot fell to the ground because the evil one basically killed him, or you think he's dead. And then Noah is inside the robot because the robot landed on top of Noah to protect him, because he's promised his little brother that if Noah was allowed to go to save the world, he promised his little brother he would look after him no matter what. And so at one point the radio goes off because he's in radio contact with his little brother. This is from the robot you think's dead. And he's telling Noah, you can do it. Noah's like, it's over. I can't do anymore. I let you down. I'm really sorry. His little brother's like, no, you're Noah. You're so powerful and strong, basically saying all this type of language that you can do it. You must do it. And then the robot comes back alive and the robot's like, oh, you're going to have to take the wheel from now on. And then the robot somehow transforms into a suit for Noah, or has a suit for, I don't know how. I got a bit confused by this. I'm like, is the robot the actual suit on Noah, or did the suit come out of the robot to put on Noah? I got a little bit confused about that bit. It was a bit like, are you actually a robot stuck on Noah now? Or did you just produce the suit for Noah? That was a bit well, it's a bit confusing, I'd say. But anyway, it was really good. I mean, the suit came up his feet, up his legs, up everything, and he had all this suit on. He was really powerful. He was trying to kill the evil robot, and it was incredible scenery. And I thought Noah was a really good character. I really liked his character because I thought he was so strong. He's really good looking. He looks really young as well, even though he's 31. He looked 23, like I said. I liked the fact he had protective qualities. I like the fact that he kicked ass. I really like that. I like the fact he was different. I like the fact he stuck up for his little brother. I really loved his character. I thought he was fantastic. He is very attractive to me, actually, as well. And I just thought he was really, really good. I loved his whole spirit, his energy, and I thought he really got into the character well as an actor. I think he's a very good actor, Anthony Ramos. I think he's an amazing actor. I'm like, wow, you really play the part well. I really believe you're this strong, strong-headed person who doesn't, take no for an answer, who tries his best to do his best, who's a leader as well. He showed leadership qualities. At one point, he said, follow my lead, and he was really, really good. And I loved that about him. And so, yeah, it was an incredible ending. I don't know if I should tell you the ending, but it was absolutely incredible, and he did really well, and I was so pleased, and I loved his robotic suit. I thought, wow, because I love Iron Man. Iron Man's my favorite character at the moment. I'm just rewatching the Marvel movies. The last, the second to last one, and then the final one, the End Game. But I know End Game's really sad because they kill off Iron Man. That's my favorite character, and I never thought I'd watch that movie again. But I'm on Disney Plus because I went to Disneyland Paris last month, so I've got a free Disney Plus account for a year now, and I'm like, oh my god. So I thought to go back over that. But I love Iron Man. I'm like, bring back Iron Man with the time stone. But that's another movie. That's a Marvel movie. I want them to bring Iron Man back with the time stone. It's like, come on, bring him back. So yeah, but this was really good because it was a bit like Indiana Jones with the way they went down into the underground, and it was also a bit like Iron Man, that bit. I was honestly pretty disappointed with the end game because of what they did to the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. Have you seen Guardians of Galaxy, the last movie? Because I did a review of that not long ago. Because the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, I don't want to spoil it for you. So if you don't want it to be spoilt, then please don't watch the rest of this. But Gamora comes back to life with a concussion, basically, and can't remember anything. And that is the last Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, yeah. So the Guardians of the Galaxy, they kind of split them up in the last movie that I watched not long ago. And I'm like, what the hell are they splitting them up for? It's really weird. Yeah, they brought Gamora back. So that was kind of bizarre. But yeah. So I just was disappointed that Iron Man's dead because Iron Man's my favorite character and they killed him off on my birthday. Well, technically the day after my birthday because I watched the Endgame on the 24th of April at 11 p.m. And then that was my actual birthday day, and the 25th they killed him off. I think their storylines come full circle in the last movie. I want them to bring Iron Man back though. I keep going on about Iron Man now. I love Iron Man. Like, bring him back with a time stone. Come on, bring him back. I'm like, they could bring all the characters back with a time stone pretty much. It's like, bring them back. It's not the same without Iron Man. I love Iron Man. At least have Iron Man in multiverses. It's got to be somewhere. There's probably like 755,000 of them. 7 or 55,000 of them. 755,000 or more. They're all over the place. Be lovely to have Iron Mans everywhere. I love the Iron Man costume. I actually think Robert Downey Jr. is attractive for an older guy. I'm not usually attracted to older guys at all, but I think Robert Downey Jr. is attractive, which is weird for me because I don't usually find any older guys like that attractive. But yeah, but I like his metal suit more. But yeah, so I thought Transformers was amazing in a nutshell. I definitely think you should go and watch it. Anarch, like keeping Mantis with the group wouldn't make sense since her entire arc was about being independent, and then Nebula overcoming her trauma and helping other kids who experience what she did. Anarch. Oh, you're talking about going to the galaxy now. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're more into Guardians of the Galaxy than I am. I liked it, but I didn't watch the first movies. I don't think Guardians of the Galaxy. I wasn't into it always, but I do like superhero movies. I'm actually going to watch Indiana Jones movie with my best friend. He's paying on Friday. That's it, day after tomorrow now because I've just gone through to Wednesday. So he likes more older movies usually, but I don't mind Indiana Jones. I said, I'd watch that with him. Like, does he want to see a movie with me? Because Indiana Jones, obviously, like my parents watch Indiana Jones. It is a bit old, but obviously it's a more modern movie. So I'm looking forward to watching it. Yeah, you're definitely into Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing Indiana Jones. It should be interesting because they're bringing Harrison Ford back into it. So I think it's funny. I think it's good that they've brought an older actor still playing the same sort of character back in there. I think he's playing himself as far as I know. Just an old, like he's got older in the movie, I think, but he's still doing stunts from what I can see. And he's still playing like the main part. I'm like, oh my gosh. From what I can see of the trailers, but obviously I haven't seen the movie yet. But yeah, I'm really into seeing movies at the moment because in the UK, the Odeon have a Super Saver ticket. So if you sign up to be a member online, you get to see pretty much any movie for £5 usually. There's a few ones that don't actually have £5 on them, but the most of them do. And £5 for a movie to have a whole cinema experience is really good. And with Transformers, I was sat in the cinema showing all by myself. There was only me that turned up at 5 p.m. It's a very good time to go. Just me and the whole screen to myself. I was in the front row and I'm like, oh, this is great. No distractions from anyone else. Can rush to the toilet when I like without without distracting anyone else. Can do what I like. It was great. I had my snacks. You probably saw one of my shorts videos that said I was here in the dark. I literally got there, it was all dark. I'm like, oh my god, there's only a few spotlights. So yeah, I really enjoyed having the screen to myself, and I haven't told you exactly what happens in the very end of Transformers, but and there is a little bit in the credits, so please watch that. It really annoys me when people don't watch the credits bits and there's extra bits on there. I mean, obviously people are free to do what they want, but it really annoys me when a lot of the time the bits that are in the credit are giving you extra information about the film, and if people don't watch it, they could then be spreading misinformation about the film sometimes. I guess with this one, it doesn't matter so much if you miss the last bit of, the bits in the credit of this one, because it's not really that influential. But the majority of time, especially if it's a Marvel movie, it's really influential and informative about either what's already happened in the movie and it changes the meaning of some of it, or the next movie. So there's people, for example, that there's in one movie, superhero movie, you think someone's dead, but they weren't actually dead, because in the credits bit they showed the person wasn't actually dead. And in this particular movie, I think was there three people that died? It was the last Thor movie, actually. I think three people died, but one of them wasn't actually dead, but you thought three people died in it. So yeah, Anarch, I never get when people don't stick around to watch the end scene. Like, even if it isn't as important, you still get to see characters doing silly things and just being their goofy selves. Yeah, I mean, some of it's quite serious, so it depends what it is. On the Transformers, I would say it's more goofy. It's more of a kind of funny ending, a bit like, oh, that's what happened to it. Oh, I saw a little heart go up then. Must be something new in chat. Thank you. Um, but yeah, oh, lots of hearts. I noticed they've changed the chat around a bit, I think, with the hearts. I've never seen that before. That's really nice. I'm a romantic asexual here, and I'm getting very distracted by hearts in the chat. Because when people give me hearts, my heart leaps, because I do have a lot of romance going on in me 24/7 pretty much. You're showering me with hearts. Thank you so much. I'm getting very smiley now. It's really difficult sometimes because I was talking to someone the other day. I can't remember oh yes, I did my Blue Talks interview. I don't know if you've seen that yet. But I was interviewed by Blue Talks and I started talking about romance and guys and liking younger guys, and then I nearly forgot what I was going to talk about in the interview with them. And I said live that I said, oh, when I talk about younger guys, I talk about that type of thing in romance, like I just forget what I'm talking about and it goes out of my head because I'm romance. I'm like a hyper romantic. I'm really a hyper romantic and hyper kisser. I mean, to a T, like unbelievably so. Like the last guy I kissed, I don't know if you've watched that video yet. I was kissing him for pretty much nearly non-stop for 4 hours. That's a long time. Even for me, that's my own record. Thank you for the hearts. And so, yeah, I get so romantic that I end up being like a goofy girl. I'm like at end of a movie, aren't I? A goofy girl going, ah. So yeah, oh man, I'm getting hearted. It's so romantic. It's just not normal. It's quite fun though. Your life's never boring when you're a hyper romantic and a hyper kisser. I tell you, you don't have time to be bored. So I've hurt my leg though. I think it was like doing food shopping, not in the club. My leg hurt before I even went clubbing, but I still went clubbing the second time. It didn't hurt the first time, the second time. But it's very just start giggling like a giggly schoolgirl, giddy schoolgirl. I think that's what I do, isn't it? I start giggling like a giddy schoolgirl. It's actually, like, really interesting when I'm going off on a tangent here now, by the way, because the Transformers movie, I'd say highly recommend go and watch it. And going off on a tangent, I am like that usually with younger foreign guys. Like, if I talk to a guy that I really like, I start getting like a giddy little schoolgirl, getting shy, like a shy schoolgirl or something with younger guys because if I really like one, I get a bit shy, which is not normal for me, like on this channel, but I do get shy around guys I like who are younger because I think of them as the older one and me as the younger one. Role reversal, if you know. So it's quite sweet and cute. But yeah. But in the movie, the Transformers movie, like I said, there's not really a romantic storyline. I'd say there's a caring storyline, but it's more of a friendship. In the end, of the movie, she's like putting her head on him, like just resting it there. So there's no kiss or anything like that. And there's no holding hands. There's no, like sexual stuff. There's no nothing like that. So I think it's a very good asexual film to watch. I'd say Transformers Rise of the Beast. And I do like the beasts. They're very interesting robots. And there was a lot of robotic action in it. I'd highly recommend going to see it. So yeah, I think it's really amazing. But definitely go and watch it. I'm still thinking of the hearts. My mind is a heart. But yeah, I also noticed as well in YouTube that with shorts now you can add some stickers to shorts. I'm like, oh, it's getting more like Instagram every day. There you go. So I love the hearts. Thank you. So yeah, and I do still like Indian guys. I have to say, even the last two guys I kissed the Pakistani guys, I still really like Indian guys. And I keep subscribing to Indian channels that have got Indian dancing. I'm like, Sandra, you're just so Indian. I'm like, but it feels like I'm home when I watch those videos. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm home. It's like, wow. Do you know what I mean? So, but so far, most like the guys I meet that are foreign, they usually all want sex and they usually want marriage and they want kids. And I'm an asexual that doesn't want sex. I don't want marriage. I don't want kids, and I prefer to live separately as well. So yeah, that's the way I am, and that's why I like no sex movies because I don't want to watch movies with any sex or nudity in them. I find them uncomfortable and it just spoils the whole storyline. But for me, because I'm a romantic asexual, I do like a romantic storyline, I have to admit. But when there's no romantic storyline, I'm happy for aromantic asexuals, those who lack romantic attraction, because I think, here's a movie they could watch because the storyline's not really romantic. And they would probably be more comfortable watching that type of film. So that I do think of other people besides myself, and I think the Transformers movie this time, for me personally, I was thinking, are they gonna end up being romantic together or are they not? It's a bit weird, but it seems like as more of the film went on, it seems like no, they're not. Anarch, I don't mind it as much unless if it's like romance. Oh, I don't mind it as much unless if it's like someone getting upset if someone doesn't want to have sex with them. Just feel super uncomfortable. Ah, right, you're talking about the sex rather than romance. Yeah, I really mind sex. I mean, I hate nudity. I'm nudity repulsed, and I hate sex in films. But I just like I usually end up if I'm with an if I'm in a relationship with a guy as well, it makes me feel even worse because it's like, why are you looking at that when you should be looking at me? Like, I just like really find that I feel personally it's a bit like a betrayal, but I know that you can't. I know you can't stop someone watching that type of thing. So I would prefer to be in a relationship with a guy who doesn't go around looking at that stuff. Is nudity repulsed himself or really couldn't give a toss about it. But I'm well aware that the majority of the population would probably look at stuff like that. But I think it comes from the fact I had a heterosexual ex and he was always gawking at the screen and stuff. He would watch music videos, and I'm sure it's probably a lot of it, not just because of the music, but because of the sex stuff. And I found out that he was doing doing sexual stuff with himself to watching stuff at home, and I think that really put me off as well. But I've always hated nudity on TV, in magazines and movies and stuff. I feel that if a guy's looking at someone else naked while he's in a relationship with me, it feels a bit like a betrayal. But I know that with movies, it's obviously like you don't really expect it all the time in movies and stuff, and sometimes it does just happen. But I just look down at the floor usually, or look at the ceiling, or look away, or go to the toilet. So, yeah, it's a bit of a sore point that with me. It just really grates on me. And then I think, thank God I'm single. I'm just happy being single, watching my certificate 12 movies most of the time, and PG movies. I do sometimes watch certificate 15 or more, but a lot of them are PG movies, or 12, or 12A's, which I prefer. And a lot of them don't have sex in them. Some have them have romance. I like watching dance movies, like street dance movies. Usually they've got a lot of dancing, which I love, hip hop, which I love, street dance, which I love. Guys wear really awesome clothes, street clothes, which I love, and they've got a romantic storyline going on, which I love. So pretty much, I love those type of movies, which is very contrast to action superhero style movies. But I love action movies and superhero style movies as well. So I do appreciate, Anarch, you sharing what you like and don't like as well, because I know I'm quite rare for an asexual. There's not many asexuals that are nudity repulsed like I am. Um, Not many at all. I've only come across one other person like me so far, I think. I think. I just really, who's really repulsed by it. But I've always been like that since a kid. I always used to hate the Sun tabloid newspaper in the UK. I think it's maybe in other countries as well, but definitely in the UK, because they always have a page 3, which is a naked woman on there. And it disgusts me, and I always used to say to my parents how disgusted I was with it, and how it shouldn't be allowed to have women naked on TV. And I used to go into rants about it and stuff, and my parents didn't really get it. They're like, "Oh, you're like, in terms of relationship," they go, "Oh, you're so insecure." That's why I'm just like, no, I'm nudity repulsed. I just don't believe it's right, and I don't think it's fair that men gawk at women like that, because I think if there was a page 3 man where there's dangly bits dangling for all the world to see, and a woman looking at every breakfast time, with a guy feeling like, why the hell are you looking at another bloke every single morning eating your breakfast? I don't think the guy would like it very much, would he? But of course, it's inequality a lot of the time, and guys think it's fine for them to go around looking at naked women and doing whatever. But if a woman actually looks at men naked and is like them, then the guys don't like it. So it's very unequal. I don't want to see a guy's bits, but I think if you're gonna do something, you should do it equally, not like just with one gender. Yeah, it feels weird when nude women are just used for more views, when nude men are just used for shock factor. Yeah, exactly, Anarch. You get what I mean, you know? It's like men can like gawk over as many women's bodies as they want. And like you say, it's like for more views and for sexual gratification and pleasure. But yeah, nude men are, even if there's nude men, usually it's their backside that's shown, and their back. It's not usually their front genitalia that's shown. You might see down to the top of that, but you don't actually see that bit a lot of the time, the majority of the time. Not that I need to see it, but I'm thinking, well, why is it okay for just women's boobs and private parts and all over the body to be seen? But yet, when it comes to guys, it's like you say, it's basically used sparingly, isn't it, for the shock factor with men? And it's like, but men have their top off a lot of the time, quite a lot of guys do, for catching the sun anyway. So that's not really anything most women haven't already seen at some point in their life. But then the other thing is a bum. And it's like, well, everyone has a bum, but it's like, the top half for a woman, why are they doing that? It's also odd that men watching porn is socially acceptable and weird if they don't. But if women do watch porn, it's seen as disgusting. Well, yeah, I personally don't like porn, and I don't watch it and find the whole thing disgusting. I'm really personally porn repulsed, but I know there's quite a lot of asexuals that do still watch porn, including asexual guys. And I do think that what also is disgusting from my point of view is I like younger guys, and it's deeply still frowned upon for an older girl to like younger guys. And like, guys tend to hide the fact a lot of the time if they're like older women. They're all over dating sites, a lot of them saying, "Oh, I like an older woman," but they want secret hookups with them. not to be seen in public a lot of the time. But yet, if a guy gets with a younger girl, oh, it's like his mates are like patting him on the back and saying, like she's, like so proud and showing her off and all the rest of it. Like, look what young girl I've got. But if it's an older woman, we get called all sorts of horrible names. You know what I mean? And it's like a guy gets praise, whereas I get, can get like horrible stuff said. Not all the time, but just a little bit of the time. But usually it's by other women. It's not by guys. Guys couldn't care less, but it's by other women. Usually I think it's because the women are jealous. They're like, oh well, I'm a housewife, I've got kids, or I've lived my life with kids, and so therefore you shouldn't be, and if they've got kids, obviously they see younger people as kids, whereas I don't see a guy who's in his early to mid-20s as a kid. You know what I mean? I just don't see him as a young adult. And sometimes some guys are very mature for that age at that age, and others aren't. I met guys in their 30s that aren't mature at all, and that are less mature than guys who are like 22, 23, for example. But it's like I like younger guys predominantly. I know I kissed an older guy for me the other day, which was not normal, and I was glad I had the experience of kissing an older guy. But when I found out he's married still, separated but married, that was horrendous. And also for me, so I didn't like that at all. But I wanted to have the experience of kissing an old guy, a foreign guy. But I still much more attracted to younger guys. I still feel a lot more comfortable around younger guys. And I still prefer, even if I was in a relationship, I can't see me being in a relationship with an older guy. I think it would have to be a younger guy. I mean, I can see advantages of being in a relationship with an older guy. I can see like some advantages of that, but I still, in terms of aesthetic attraction so far, I'm still a lot more attracted to younger guys. But like it's deeply frowned upon, a lot of the time. Like a lot of the younger guys, they tend to like want to keep it secret. I'm like thinking, why? I don't want to, I like younger guys, but they also don't understand that I like a younger guy for a permanent committed relationship. Because older women tend to just want to hook up by the sounds of it and just want to use young guys for sex. And I'm not interested in that at all. I completely gone off the Transformers movie, but I guess it's kind of relevant in the sense that there was no sex in the Transformers movie, which I was pleased about. But yeah, so I just think it's like there's a lot of stuff in society that's still very unequal. And yeah, if a woman masturbates, that can be seen as well as more like whereas if a guy masturbates or honks his monkey or tonks his monkey or whatever he wants to call it down below, or calls it a whatever name and plays with it, it seems to be like a lot more talked about in society, that male masturbation, and that masturbation is something guys do, but it's not very much talked about with females still, I don't think. So that's something else that's kind of weird. I think, there's still a lot of stigma around masturbation. Honks his monkey. Yes, one of my exes used to talk about masturbation. Honks his monkey. That was one of my exes said that about his. Honks his monkey or tonks his monkey. Honks, tonks, same thing. Pulls it. Do British people say that? Well, it was something my ex said, so I don't know what others said, but apparently guys do call their penis a name usually, like a human name sometimes as well, like Percy or Peter or whatever. That's so goofy. Well, yeah, I don't really want to be thinking about my ex, to be honest, but I was trying to like say something without using the word penis, but and something that I know was actually said. But yes, so there you go. But basically, if a guy masturbates, I think it's seen as socially acceptable, a lot more normal. Whereas I think women masturbation is not much talked about these days. It's kind of like not really said very much. I see a few articles online, women's articles and stuff, but I don't hear many people talk about it. I talked about it a bit on this channel. Like, I never even tried masturbation until I found out I'm asexual in 2014, which is really weird. Like, I never even tried that whatsoever for like, and I never thought about it. I actually thought it was. I felt sick about that. That's why I never did it. But then I did try it, and I kind of got more used to it. Occasionally, sometimes, whenever I feel like doing that, I just don't, because I think it's self love now, and I don't feel sick like I used to at the thought of doing. Because I used to prefer an ex doing that to me. And I still really, in my mind, like, I don't, it's really weird. Like, now I don't like to be with my clothes off with a guy or for him to touch me in any sexual places whatsoever. But I don't know if that would change if I was actually in a serious committed relationship. I don't know if I'd mind him touching me. Because in the past, I used to prefer the guy to touch me down there, not myself. I didn't do that at all when I was actually in a relationship. So it's only since I've been predominantly single and after I found out I was asexual that I even tried that, because I thought, well, I like, like, people try it, don't they? And something happened in my life, and there was a death, and I'm like thinking, oh well, people try this, I may as well try it while I'm alive. And for a long time, I still didn't really like it that much, but then I've kind of got used to it occasionally now. But for me, I don't orgasm, so I don't I don't have that pressure on myself, because if I just release, it's not orgasmic, so I don't worry about that type of thing. I don't even really know what an orgasm is as such. I've read up about it, obviously, but for me, like, anything like that is not orgasmic, is not a word I would use. So I don't, but I just think it's self-love. I think, like, and I think the more you're attracted to yourself, the more you find yourself beautiful and your body beautiful, which I've trained myself to do a lot. The more confident you are, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you present yourself, the way you are. So in nightclubs, obviously, I'm very confident a lot of the time, because I do find myself attractive, as in I think I look really good looking for myself. So it makes you a lot more confident, because it's like, well, if someone doesn't find me attractive, that's fine, because I still find myself attractive. So it doesn't really matter what they say. So I it's taken me years to get to that stage, though, because years ago, I didn't even like my looks that much. I've always liked my hair, although it's cut shorter than I would usually like it at the moment, because the woman cut it really short in the hairdressers yesterday. And I've always liked my smile and my lips and skin and stuff like that. But now I love a lot more of me, and now I find myself a lot more attractive. Like, I don't get attracted to women, but I do find myself attractive. It's taken me ages to get to that stage. I'm like, oh, you're really attractive to me, Sandra. I get attracted to myself. So yeah, I find that's very good for self-confidence and self-esteem, because it's like, because I might be single forever on my own. So it's like, fine. I can like go out and self dates. I can have lots of pleasure with myself, but I don't need to worry about a guy. It's so good. Ah, I can just chill out and watch a movie whenever I want as well. There's a lot of benefits to being single on your own. But yes, I'm really digressing here. Anyway, go and watch Transformers. It's a really good movie. And do not be afraid to have pleasure with yourself. Do not be afraid to love yourself, to be attracted to yourself, to have confidence in yourself, and go forth being the beautiful ace you are. Asexuals come in all different shapes and sizes, and it's good to be you. Don't forget to get my Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon. And if you like superhero films, you'll love this superhero autobiographical book called Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. There I am as a superhero on the back as Ace Fiber Girl. So go and grab these books from Amazon. Take care. I love you lots. See you soon. If you've got any comments about this video or this chat we've been having, thank you, Anok, for this extended chat, which has gone off on tangents. And if you want to comment on anything in this video, anything to do with Transformers movie, anything to do after the Transformers movie, such as equality, nudity, all this type of thing, please leave your comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon next video or live stream. Bye.